Damian Whitfield won the big dare. Kiss the person of the opposite sex you like passionately for 2 minutes. Amid the cheers of his friends, he stood up and walked towards me. We were in a Cold War at that time. I was nervous and shy, and closed my eyes at a loss. Damian lowered his head and sneered in my ear. "You want me to kiss you, Juliana Carrington? Unfortunately, I'm tired of you already." After saying that, he turned around and kissed the pretty schoolgirl. At that moment, I suddenly didn't want him anymore. The next day, I applied to a school abroad and accepted the marriage arranged by my elders. On his birthday, he flew to a foreign country without looking back. When the plane landed, my phone exploded. 1. Damian was already a little tipsy when he won the dare. A nosy friend picked up the note and deliberately read it out loud. Kiss the person of the opposite sex you like passionately for 2 minutes. Everyone immediately looked at me and started to make a noise. Damian specially arranged this game tonight. He and I have been in a Cold War for more than a month. On previous occasions, I was the one who endured the grievance and took the initiative to bow my head and seek peace. But this time, I got stubborn for some reason. Just refused to bow your head. I originally thought the stalemate would continue, but I didn't expect Damian to call me today. I was a little nervous, and my fingers subconsciously grasped the hem of my skirt tightly. And Damian was already standing. Several girls around me who were familiar with me smiled and pushed me gently. "Juliana, your boyfriend is coming to kiss you." Feeling happy inside, I looked up at Damian. He was wearing my favorite white shirt with a slightly messy collar. Under the scent of alcohol, the eyes he looked at me looked particularly affectionate. My cheeks felt hot. I lowered my eyes, and my fingers clenched tighter. The palms of my hands were already covered with sweat. When I looked up again, Damian was already in front of me. "Juliana." Damian bent down. The drunken voice sounded particularly gentle. I was so nervous that I didn't know what to do, and I was so shy that I couldn't control myself. When he bent down to kiss her, she closed her eyes in panic. 2. But the long-awaited kiss did not come yet. A slightly hot breath fell on my ears. There was a low sneer mixed in. "You want me to kiss you? I haven't touched you for a month. Are you so horny, Juliana?" I suddenly opened my eyes. Damian had straightened up. A sarcastic smile appeared between his thin lips. He lowered his eyes and looked into mine, with only indifference and disdain in his eyes. At that moment, I felt all the blood in my body rushing to my head. His hands and feet were cold and trembling. I sat stiffly. I stared at him in a daze as he turned and walked aside. In the stunned silence of everyone in the room, he took the hand of the pretty schoolgirl. "Can I? I know that the junior schoolgirl has always admired him. I have expressed my feelings countless times, both openly and secretly. When I was jealous before, he casually said that he was not interested in her. But now, after his schoolmate blushed and nodded, without hesitation he bent down and kissed her. 2 minutes, not a second less. After the passionate kiss, he even raised his hand and rubbed the schoolgirl's slightly swollen lips, wiped away the ambiguous water stains at the corners of her lips. 3. The girls sitting next to me looked at me sadly and sympathetically. Damian gave me a blank look. He returned to his seat and picked up the bottle. "Why is it so quiet?" "It's quite interesting, keep playing." Someone tried to smooth things over. "Damian, stop drinking, you look so drunk." "Yes, Damian, Juliana is about to cry. You should comfort her quickly." Damian leaned back in his chair, his posture casual. "Why coax her? She is your girlfriend after all. You went a little too far just now." "Who said she was my girlfriend?" The sarcastic smile on Damian's lips turned even colder. "Didn't we split up a month ago?" I lowered my eyes and couldn't help but chuckle. "Juliana, are you okay?" The girl sitting next to me held my hand. I shook my head. "It's okay. I'm going to go back now, you guys continue playing." I stood up and walked out. I heard the little girl's sweet voice. "Is the senior angry?" "I don't care about her." Damian asked someone to open the wine. "Keep drinking." "Damian, Juliana seems really angry this time." I didn't stop and opened the door directly. Damian's voice came slowly. "It's none of my business." When has she not been really angry? In the end, he still came back to ask for reconciliation. "Do you still want to get back together with her?" The closed door blocked out all sound. I didn't hear his answer. But it doesn't matter to me anymore. 4. Because I was in love with Damien before. I chose to stay in China and take the postgraduate entrance examination. But now, I feel that studying abroad seems to be a good idea. I took some time to clean up the things I left in Damien's apartment and bring them back to the dorm. I haven't told anyone about my plan to study abroad yet. Life starts to get busy, and there are so many things to prepare. Gradually, I thought less about Damien. Until that day in the second cafeteria, I met him and a few friends after a long time. He was still accompanied by a beautiful young girl. But she is not the schoolgirl from last time. Juliana, it's been a while. Let's eat together later. His friend greeted me with a smile. I just smiled politely and said, No, I'm with my roommate. Okay then. By the way, we're having a party at our usual place tonight. Do you want to come too? I glanced at Damien subconsciously. His eyebrows and eyes were stern, and no emotion could be seen in them. But he didn't interrupt his friend. My heart was calm and I shook my head. No, I have other things to do tonight. Why are you talking so much nonsense just over a meal? Damien suddenly gave a cold look to the few people. He just walked away. My friend apologized to me in a somewhat embarrassed manner. I waved my hand and turned away. After dinner, I returned to the dormitory downstairs. But he met Damien and his new girlfriend again. The girl hugged Damien's neck and stood on tiptoe from time to ask for a kiss. The expression on Damien's face seemed a little impatient. I walked past without looking around and was about to enter the dormitory gate. Damien suddenly called me, Juliana. 5. I paused for a moment but didn't stop. Damien called out again. Juliana, I'm calling you, didn't you hear me? He pushed the girl in front of him away and walked straight up to me. Something wrong? I looked at him calmly. Something's up. Well, go ahead. Damien's girlfriend followed him and stuck close to him, looking at me with hostility in her eyes. Whose cakes were you always buying for me before? Damien lazily held his girlfriend in his arms and looked down at me. My girlfriend also likes cakes. I want to buy one for her. I did it. My eyes remained calm. If she wants to eat it, I can send her the tutorial. Damien frowned. Don't bother. How about this? You make 2 for me. Of course, I'll give you money. I smiled and said, Sorry, I don't have time right now. Don't you have time, or don't you want to? Damien looked at me with a half smile. Are you jealous? I suddenly felt completely bored. I don't want to argue or waste my breath on these boring things. Whatever you think. I walked around him and quickly walked into the dormitory building. As soon as I entered the dormitory, my roommate pulled me to the window. Downstairs, Damien and his new girlfriend seemed to be arguing. After a while, he impatiently shook off the girl's hand and drove away. The girl stood downstairs and cried for a long time, then left reluctantly. The roommate was a little unsatisfied. Juliana, I feel like Damien still likes you. Is he doing this on purpose to piss you off so you can surrender first? I smiled and poked my roommate on the forehead. Read less novels about domineering CEOs. They're ruining your brain. 6. Because I like Damien, I clearly rejected the marriage arranged by my elders. Now that they know I'm going abroad, they bring up the old issue again. Uncle, can I think about it again? Okay, you still want to continue studying, and there's no rush to get married. Before you go abroad, let's meet each other first. You have to like it first. Okay. I didn't refuse their kindness anymore. My 2 uncles loved me very much after my mother died, and my father remarried. They are the people who love me the most in this world. I had dinner with my best friend in the evening. By the way, I told her about my plan to study abroad. When I went to the bathroom halfway through the meeting, Damien called me. Juliana, where's your stuff? I took it back to the dormitory. Damien's voice was unremarkable. Since we're moving, move it cleanly. My girlfriend came over tonight, and she was upset when she saw your stuff. Sorry, please throw it away. Okay, throw it away, don't regret it. The phone was hung up. I looked at myself in the mirror, feeling a little confused. I couldn't figure out what he meant. I don't even want him anymore, so why would I care about the things he gives me? 7. I promised my uncle that I would meet that person before going abroad. I just never expected that he would come as promised. He turned out to be the person I want to call uncle. My best friend was also dumbfounded. She grabbed my hand and screamed softly, "Juliana, the person you're going on a blind date with is Nolan McCoy." I subconsciously sat up straight, but my face flushed slightly. I didn't know it was him. "I can't take it anymore, Juliana. I'm scared, I have to pee." After saying that, my best friend let go of my hand. Before Nolan came close, she stood up and said, "Uncle, I'm going to the bathroom first." After saying this, he bowed very obediently. After only a few steps, he disappeared like a rabbit. "Uncle," I greeted him quietly, and suddenly I didn't dare to look him in the eye like I used to. Nolan sat down across from me. "What do you want to eat?" "It's all right. I'm not picky about food." Nolan ordered a few and asked me, "Is this okay?" I took a look at the menu and saw that they were all my favorites. I was a little surprised and couldn't help but look at him. The man in my memory who was noble, cold, and arrogant, and had the aura of a superior. Today's outfit is more casual, so it doesn't seem so intimidating. But I was still a little reserved and whispered, "Sure." The waiter took the menu and left. Nolan suddenly said, "Juliana, are you afraid of me?" I nodded subconsciously, then quickly shook my head in panic. When I saw him in the past, I just followed my uncle and others and looked at him from afar. Occasionally, when the elders talked, I would just stand aside and never interrupt. He is not very old, just of a higher generation. In fact, I am only 27 years old this year. So what do you think of me? I was a little stunned. Nolan smiled and said, "Don't be nervous. Think about it before answering." I took a deep breath and said, "Uncle, Juliana, you can call me by my name." I squeezed my palms tightly for a while before whispering, "Nolan, I still need to study abroad for at least 2 years. It's okay, if you want we can get engaged first." "Why?" I was a little confused. He had a great deal of choice in marriage. I am just an orphan whose mother died early, and whose father remarried, and who feels like having no home even though I have one. Nolan handed me the poured juice. His fingers were long and slender, with strong joints, and they looked like jade tubes when pressed against the glass. I was actually a little stunned by what I saw. He put the glass down and stroked the top of my head. "Juliana, I don't want to scare you, so keep it a secret for now." 9. 3 days before leaving the country, Nolan and I got engaged quietly. The day before I went abroad, Damien suddenly called me. "Juliana, it's my birthday tomorrow." I replied perfunctorily, "Yeah," as I packed my boxes. "You know the place." Damien's tone was still somewhat lazy. "I've given you the steps. It's up to you whether you want to go down or not." Before I could come to my senses, the phone was hung up. My uncle came and knocked on the door. "Juliana, Nolan is here to take you to dinner." I quickly responded and closed the box. I have already forgotten about Damien's phone call just now. Because I had a long flight the next day, Nolan didn't take me home too late. He drank a little wine with dinner. When I got out of the car, he suddenly held my wrist gently. "Juliana." Nolan exerted a little force on his hands and pulled me in front of him. He smelled of rich wine. I was too close, and the bitter scent of ebony and cedar instantly enveloped me. Different from Damien, the arrogant and proud young man, Nolan has a completely different and unique scent that belongs only to mature men. I was distraught for a moment, until Nolan lowered his head and gave me a light kiss on my lips. "Go to bed early. I'll take you to the airport tomorrow." As he said this, he reached out his hand and gently rubbed my lips. When I was feeling embarrassed and at a loss, Nolan suddenly whispered in my ear, "Our Juliana is truly as good as her name." 10. At 7 o'clock in the evening, all the friends arrived. There was an empty seat next to Damien. He didn't bring any female companion. Friends know it well. That seat was reserved for Juliana. After so much trouble, they actually figured it out. Damien still likes Juliana. I'm just used to being arrogant and always want others to bow their heads. After tonight, the two of you should stop making trouble. Why bother? You look so sullen every day, as if we all owe you 8 million. Juliana will be here soon. Comfort her and apologize sincerely." Damien glanced at the door nonchalantly. "No coaxing. It's good enough to give her a way out. Just do it." What time is it? Why hasn't Juliana come yet? Did you tell her, Damien? Damien lowered his eyes and looked at his watch. Love is coming or not? I'll go out and take a look. Damien didn't stop him. He stood up and walked to the window. It was getting dark outside, and he looked downstairs. Cars were coming and going, but he didn't know if there was the one he was looking forward to. Damien somehow remembered his birthday last year. At that time, he and Juliana were in a good relationship. She gave him a belt and cufflinks, which he used almost every day, and the diamond earrings he gave her on her birthday. She used to wear it every day, but she stayed in the apartment that day and didn't take it with her. Damien didn't know why, but his heart sank a little. At this moment, the door of the room was suddenly pushed open. The visitor shouted joyfully, "Damien, here we come!" He turned around suddenly and felt the haze weighing on his heart dissipate instantly. He knew very well how much Juliana liked him. He knew that she would come tonight. As long as she comes, this time he will take the initiative to lower his head and coax her. 11. Damien leaned against the windowsill, still in that relaxed and casual posture. It seemed as if he didn't care at all who came in. I didn't have any expectations in my heart, but the arms resting on the windowsill were tense. I don't know when my fingers clenched. A big surprise is coming soon. The visitors were full of excitement, and the atmosphere became more lively. Damien seemed to have a faint smile on his lips. He lowered his eyes and said nonchalantly, "It's the same old routine every year. What surprises can there be? This time it's really different." Damien's face showed no emotion, but ripples gradually appeared in my heart. What surprise will Juliana give him? My friends are right. He really did go too far. I don't know why I lost my mind that day and kissed another girl in front of her, but he regretted it after kissing the school girl. If Juliana had shed a tear, he must have apologized and made peace immediately. But she didn't, she just left quietly. During this period he was quite mischievous, constantly changing his female companions. Juliana must be feeling very upset. But even so, she still prepared a birthday surprise for him. An idea suddenly occurred to Damien. That's it, this is her. He would put aside his usual carefree nature and just date Juliana properly. The friend came over, nudged him lightly and whispered, "Stop being so arrogant." Damien changed his previous arrogance and said lightly. My friend was a little surprised. "Do you really know you are wrong?" Damien smiled and said, "I see. Oh my God, this is so rare. What happened before was indeed my own fault." Damien said, looking at his friend very seriously, "I've made up my mind. I'll be with Juliana, and I won't make her angry anymore." The friend was very pleased. It would have been great if it had been like this earlier. Juliana would have been so happy. "It's not too late," Damien said. Two waiters pushed a huge pink cardboard box tied with a ribbon into the room. Damien was a little stunned, but his friend laughed and pushed him over. "Why don't you go and open it and see what surprise Juliana has prepared for you?" His heart began to beat faster and faster. Yet I feel inexplicably homesick. He is obviously a young man who has been active in the entertainment industry and has seen all kinds of situations. At this moment, I was so nervous that my palms were sweating. Will Juliana be in there? So the surprise she prepared was to give herself to him? 12. Damien was thinking in a mess. He and Juliana have been dating for more than 2 years. When she was preparing for the postgraduate entrance examination this year, she would occasionally stay overnight at his off-campus apartment because she had to review too late. But the two did not take the last step. In fact, he was dissatisfied with this matter. Their several cold wars were probably due to this reason. He still remembers when the quarrel was the most intense. Juliana cried very sadly, and he was unwilling to even coax her. My mind is full of dissatisfaction. Only now did Damien realize it belatedly. Juliana has no mother. Her father remarried and has a new family and children, and he doesn't care about her. If he really cared about her and loved her, he would take her insecurity into consideration. Give her a promise, give her a status, and let her feel at ease. Damien suddenly changed his mind. Why not propose to her tonight? As he thought this, his heart, which had been beating violently, suddenly calmed down. It seems that deep down in my heart, I have been waiting for the moment to make this decision. His friends surrounded him, and pushed him to the huge pink cardboard box. He reached out and untied the bow tied with the ribbon. The lid of the carton opened immediately, and colorful heart-shaped balloons floated out. A girl who was also wearing a pink suspender top and a short skirt of the same color. She also jumped up among the floating balloons and shouted to him happily, "Damien, surprise!" A fragrant breeze blew over her, and a soft and graceful body jumped into his arms, hugging his neck tightly. Then the whole person hung on him. Before Damien could come to his senses, the girl kissed him hard on the face. "Happy birthday, Damien. Are you surprised? Are you surprised?" The girl raised her pretty face and looked at him with joy in her eyes. Damien stood still. He just stared at the girl in his arms. He was confused and dazed for a moment. When did Juliana become so proactive and enthusiastic? When did Juliana's face become so strange, so disgusting? A full half-minute. He just came back to his senses little by little. When the girl stood on tiptoe to ask for a kiss again, he suddenly raised his hand and pushed her away forcefully. "Damien!" The girl almost fell down and stomped her feet in grievance. A dazzling light fell on her face, falling on her ears. The two diamonds flashed with extremely dazzling light. It instantly stung Damien's eyes. He took a step forward and grabbed the girl's arm, his handsome face even looking a little hideous and distorted. "Who told you to wear these earrings? Who allowed you to wear them?" The girl turned pale with fear. "You were the one who told me to throw it away because it was an eyesore. But I thought it was very beautiful, so I couldn't bear to throw it away. Take it off." The girl was stunned and hadn't reacted yet. Damien looked at her coldly and gradually increased the strength of his hands. "You pick it yourself, or I will do it for you." The room was deathly quiet, with only the sound of the girl's sobbing becoming increasingly suppressed. She took off her earrings with shaking hands and threw them at Damien. She cried and shouted to him, "Damien, I want to break up with you." "Separate." Damien clutched the earrings tightly and smiled. "Have I talked to you about this? I told you you're my girlfriend?" The girl was stunned, tears streaming down her face. "But you dated me, took me home, and you kissed me and hugged me. So what?" Damien smiled cruelly. "I have kissed many girls, are they all my girlfriends?" "Damien, you bastard. You're right, I'm an asshole. So now can you go away?" Blood slowly flowed out from Damien's clenched hands. The earring pierced his palm, but he held it tightly and refused to let go. The pain gradually sobered him up. Juliana won't be coming to celebrate his birthday, and he was waiting for her to come ridiculously, waiting for her to give her a birthday surprise. 13. The long flight is finally over. It was dusk when we arrived in a foreign country. It should be around 3 or 4 in the morning in China at this time. As soon as I turned on my phone, messages flooded in. It took a while for the phone to return to normal. I clicked on it casually, and almost all of them were messages from Damien and missed call reminders. I frowned, feeling quite surprised. Damien has never been like this. We were in the Cold War before. If I don't bow my head, he will never take the initiative to find me. Oh, he took the initiative before, but only to embarrass me in public. When I think back to that night now, it seems like it was a lifetime ago. I smiled and put all the unpleasantness behind me. The phone suddenly started vibrating and ringing again. It was still Damien's call. I didn't answer, so he called a second time. "Damien, and I have no deep hatred. The Zhou family has close business ties with my 2 uncles. I have never thought about never having anything to do with Damien again. It's just a return to a plain relationship where we don't disturb each other. But now it seems that he doesn't think so. And I'm engaged. We should maintain an appropriate sense of boundaries with the opposite sex." I hung up the phone and deleted and blocked his number. A moment later, my friend called again. I still didn't answer. My friend sent me a message quickly. "Juliana, could you please answer the phone? Damien's birthday was yesterday and you didn't come. He drank all night and is now in the hospital receiving 4 drips. We can all see that he really regrets this time. Juliana, just give him a chance." I held my phone in my hand. Not far away, the car that Nolan had arranged to pick me up was waiting there. Thinking of Nolan's hug when we parted, my heart felt slightly warm. He said he would fly to see me every month. He also told me to study with peace of mind and that he would wait patiently for me to return after completing my studies. Never let me hear any gossip about him abroad. When I think of Nolan, I always feel an inexplicable sense of security. No more worrying about gains and losses. I thought about it and replied to my friend, "We have broken up. Please don't tell me anything about him anymore. Thank you." After replying, I locked the screen and put the phone in my bag. Someone arranged by Nolan came to help me with my luggage. The driver opened the door for me and spoke respectfully. "Ms. Jeong, Nolan has made all the arrangements. Now let me take you home first." The car was driving on the streets of a foreign country. I looked at the street scene outside the car with some curiosity. Everything is new and full of hope. I suddenly became full of anticipation for the new life that was about to begin. 14. After I replied to my friend's message that day, Damien really never made a phone call or sent a text message again, and I soon forgot everything about him. I devoted myself to the new study life. A month later, Nolan came to visit me abroad as promised. I don't know why, it only took a month. When we met again, I felt inexplicably shy. Mingming, when you sent me abroad. He even hugged me and kissed me at the airport. But when I saw him again this time, I was so shy that I didn't dare to look up at him. When dinner is about to begin, Nolan suddenly stood up and moved from the seat opposite me to the chair next to me. I tensed up instantly. Sit upright, back straight, hands on knees, like a well-behaved and obedient primary school student. "Juliana." Nolan gently squeezed my hand. My palms were hot and damp, with a thin layer of sweat. But Nolan held her tightly. "How come after not seeing you for a month, you're afraid of me again?" I couldn't answer it. It was a very strange and subtle feeling that was hard to describe. Should I change this to twice a month from now on? I suddenly turned to look at him. But the moment I turned my head, Nolan bent down and kissed me. "Juliana, I missed you so much during this month." As their lips and teeth rubbed against each other, his voice was low but with a hint of hoarseness. I subconsciously tried to break free, but he grabbed my waist again. "Don't let me move." The kiss was not very deep. Like the previous times, it didn't make me feel uncomfortable or abrupt. Instead, a feeling of joy grew in my heart, gradually making it hard for me to breathe. It felt like there was a small silver spoon in my heart, stirring the honey water with crushed ice. Sweetness overflows and spreads like ripples. I didn't know when my hand was tightly grasping his sleeve. It revealed deep and shallow wrinkles. Nolan didn't break the kiss until the waiter came over. My face was so hot, and must have been red. But when I got along with Nolan afterwards, I lost my shyness and nervousness. There was even one time when, after drinking a little red wine, I had the nerve to play a joke on him. "Nolan, I feel comfortable and at peace with you." "What do you mean?" I held my chin with one hand, looked at him for a long time, and suddenly burst out laughing. "It's just, when I'm with you, it's just like being with my uncles. I feel so relaxed and comfortable. I feel like I'm still a little kid." Nolan raised his eyebrows slightly. "You are a child. Juliana, at your age, you should be carefree and unrestrained," he said, and touched the top of my head again. "From now on, just continue to be a child. At least, you can always be like this when you are in front of me." "Why?" I looked at him somewhat blankly and asked the question again. "Why me? Why are you getting engaged to me? Why should you be nice to me?" After my mother passed away, I realized something. Many people in this world are profit-oriented. No matter what you do, the first thing you consider is whether it is beneficial to you. But I have thought about it carefully in my mind. Except for the inheritance my mother left me, there is nothing about me that is worth anyone's attention. And this legacy to Nolan is not worth mentioning at all. "Juliana, I'll tell you on our wedding day." Nolan kissed me between the eyebrows and helped me put on my scarf. "Juliana, you're drunk. We should go home." "Okay, Nolan, let's go home." 15. The third day after Nolan returned home, I just came out of the school library and saw Damien. The morning mist dissipated and the sun was hanging in the sky, but it was still cold. I was wearing a coat and a scarf, but I still felt the cold everywhere. But Damien stood under the tree, wearing only a thin windbreaker. He seems to have lost some weight. Maybe it was due to the long flight. He looked a little haggard. But it is still outstanding and dazzling. even in a strange campus in a foreign country, still attracted the attention of passers-by. I paused, picked up the book and continued walking forward. I didn't look up or glance at him as I walked past him. But Damien stopped me. "Juliana." He stepped forward and blocked my way. I don't know how long he stood there. The mist wet his hair and eyes. "I've been looking for you for a long time." I smiled and said, "What's the matter? Why do you suddenly want to study abroad? Why didn't you tell me? If it's because of what happened that day, Juliana, I can apologize to you." Damien squeezed my arm. I stepped back and pulled my hand away. "It's all over. Besides, I no longer care about it." Damien frowned slightly. "Then why do you want to study abroad? This is my own choice." He looked at me, his brows furrowed even deeper. "Okay, going abroad is a fact and cannot be changed. At worst, I can just fly a few more times in the future." I was a little surprised. "How many more flights? I'm a man, so of course I took the trouble to fly to see you, etc." I interrupted him. "Damien, you don't have to fly to see me. I don't have the obligation to do so, and I don't need it." "Juliana, so you're still angry, right? Since you're still angry and bothered, why did you say it was all in the past?" I almost laughed out of anger. "Damien, how much more do you want me to say? I said it's all in the past because I don't care about that matter anymore. And I don't care about you anymore, understand? What's the meaning? We broke up a long time ago." I looked at him calmly. "Damien, now do you understand?" 16. I don't know if it's just that Damien is too conceited and proud. Or maybe I didn't make my words clear enough. He did not return to his country, but waited for me at school every day. I ignored him at first and treated him as nothing. But within 2 days, rumors began to spread in the school. Many people are saying that I have a very handsome Oriental boyfriend. I was afraid that the news would spread and get to Nolan. It will make him unhappy. After thinking it over again and again, I decided to have a good talk with Damien. But before I could say anything, Damien pulled out a ring. "Juliana, I know what's on your mind. Don't you just want to get married and feel secure?" He held my hand and tried to put the ring on my finger. "Let's get engaged first, and you can get the marriage certificate anytime you want. Is this okay?" I pulled my hand back with force, and the ring fell onto the table. The diamonds are big and sparkly. I don't deny that when I liked him the most, I had fantasized about this day. But the Cold War came again and again. They quarreled again and again about whether to have sex or not. I get sad again and again because other girls are jealous. In the end, I saw him kiss that junior high school girl with my own eyes. My love and expectations for him had long since vanished. "Damien, I just came here to tell you again. I have broken up with you. Go back and don't come to see me again." Damien seemed suddenly angry. "Juliana, you've been making a fuss for so long, it's about time. If you don't want to do it, I won't force you to do it. If you want to get married, I'll agree to it. What else do you want?" "Damien, I'm engaged." I looked at him calmly. "So please stop bothering me, okay?" Damien stared at me for a long while, then suddenly smiled. "Stop it, Juliana. Who are you engaged to? Who can you be engaged to? We just had a fight and were in a Cold War for a few days, and you just got engaged to someone casually." Damien looked at me. "When did you become so casual? Believe it or not, I have said everything that needs to be said. If you continue to harass me at school, I will call the police." After saying that, I took my bag and turned to leave. Damien grabbed my wrist and said, "Juliana, tell me, who are you engaged to?" He exerted force on his hands and I staggered a little. "You dated me for 2 years, and even though we broke up, you found someone else. I want to check for you too, right? No need. Is it not necessary, or is it not necessary at all? All right, you've learned all the tricks I used before. You want me to be jealous, right? I really think he is sick and very sick. Damien, I'm not as boring as you. Then tell me about your fiancé. You really want to know? Certainly. My ex-girlfriend is already engaged. How can I not be curious?" I raised my hand and pointed at a business magazine on a newspaper rack not far away. "The person on the cover is Nolan. That's him." Damien looked in the direction I pointed and smiled. "Juliana, if you can make it sound more realistic, please do it." "That's Nolan. My dad has to bow down in front of him." I told you it's him, believe it or not. Damien's brows relaxed and the smile deepened. Okay, stop messing with me, Juliana. Let's make peace and be like before, okay? I looked at him helplessly, feeling that further explanation would be even more ridiculous. He simply said nothing more, turned around and walked out. Damien was going to chase me out, but his cell phone suddenly rang. His expression changed after a few words, and he hurriedly got into the car and left. I didn't understand why, but I was greatly relieved. After Damien left, the rumors quickly died down. Nolan and I talk on the phone and video chat every day, and there is nothing unusual about it. Only then did I feel completely relieved. Apparently, the jokes didn't reach him. 17. The days passed one by one. Nolan kept flying here twice a month without interruption. Damien never came to see me again after that time. But in the meantime, he called me using his friend's cell phone. But every time I heard his voice, I hung up. When spring comes, my birthday is also approaching. Because I miss my two uncles very much, I went back to China with Nolan. At the family dinner that day, Nolan suddenly told my uncle that he wanted to get married with me. I was a little surprised, but my uncles were very happy. I didn't have any resistance in my heart and seemed very happy. The marriage certificate was scheduled for my birthday. The wedding preparations have to start slowly. The night before getting the marriage certificate, I had a party with some of my best friends. Nolan said that I can have fun with my good friends all night long while I am still not married. After we get the certificate tomorrow, we are not allowed to stay out overnight. While having dinner that night, I happened to meet friends from Damien's circle. When I went to that popular internet celebrity nightclub with a few girlfriends after dinner, as soon as I got off the car, I saw Damien. He stood by the car, staring at me without blinking. The early spring wind in the capital is still very cold. I shrank my neck and pulled my coat tighter around me. She walked past him without looking around. Damien didn't call me. My girlfriends and I don't really like this kind of noisy place. So after staying for a while, I was ready to leave. Find a quiet club to drink tea and chat. But as soon as I stood up, Damien called me. Juliana, now that you're back, don't go to France again. I just felt it was incredible and inexplicable. Walk around him and prepare to leave. Damien stopped me again. I didn't throw away these earrings. He opened his palms, and the diamond earrings were still shining brightly. When I first received this birthday gift, I was extremely happy, but also a little disappointed. But I still carry it with me every day and never leave it. But when I decided to let it go completely, I left the pair of earrings at his apartment and didn't take them with me. I've been thinking a lot these days. You're not wrong to not want to have sex before marriage. You didn't want to give in during the last Cold War, and that was not wrong. I shouldn't have deliberately provoked you and made you angry. But Juliana, the premise of all this is that I still like you and have you in my heart. Damien pointed to his tie and showed me the cufflinks. Look, I use the things you gave me every day. Juliana, we've been talking for 2 years, not 2 days, 2 months. I know you're reluctant, right? I'm really tired of his talk. I know it very well. He was just too successful and too high up. There was nothing he wanted that he couldn't get. There is never nothing, gain and loss. That's why I'm unwilling to give up and keep clinging to it stubbornly. To say that I like you and care about you is too cheap. But I'm going to get the certificate tomorrow. Damien, you should move on to Juliana. You can be angry, or you can get engaged out of anger. But marriage is not a trivial matter. Don't ruin your life just because you're angry with me. I pushed his hand away. Damien, you're not that important. You are no longer important. I looked at him seriously one last time. Damien, I won't joke about my life for someone who is no longer important to me. That seemed to be the first time I saw that look on Damien's face. He is always high and mighty, lazy and relaxed, not caring about anything. Even though I cried and said we broke up every time, at most he just frowned and went to smoke in annoyance. But now he stood there motionless. Those eyes, which were always romantic and affectionate, seemed completely silent. But whether he is in pain or sad, how long will he be sad and painful? It has nothing to do with me anymore. 18. On the day Nolan and I got our marriage certificate, we went back to our wedding room together. Some things happen naturally and logically, My uncles all approve of my marriage to Nolan. Nolan followed all the processes strictly and rigorously according to tradition. Because of his appreciation and concern, the two uncles went from being worried and uneasy at the beginning to accepting it with confidence in the end. It was then that I knew. After my mother died, my father wanted to remarry. The reason why I inherited the inheritance so smoothly was also because of Nolan's help behind the scenes. If it weren't for him, it would have been a lot harder for the two uncles to get by. The house is heated fully. When Nolan was blow-drying my hair, I don't know if it was because we were too close or the heater was too hot, I began to sweat on my back, and my face gradually turned red. Nolan, can you tell me now why? He turned off the hairdryer and leaned over to whisper in my ear with a smile. I'll tell you after the wedding night. Nolan. I glared at him in the mirror. After the wedding night, it will be too late for me to regret it. Do you still want to regret it? If you can't give me a satisfactory answer. The more I spoke, the quieter my voice became, because Nolan had already hugged my waist from behind and bent down to kiss me deeply. This kiss was different from the previous gentle and tolerant one, extremely powerful and incredibly deep. I just felt like all the oxygen in my body was being snatched away. The root of my tongue was numbed by the blowjob, and my legs were so weak that I could hardly stand. Nolan simply picked me up and placed me on the dressing table. He spread my legs and pushed my messy hair away from my ears. When my earlobe was kissed, my whole body trembled. A layer of small particles appeared on the back of my neck, like an electric shock. But she was held tightly in his warm big hand. What do you want, Juliana? Want to break up the engagement? Or do you want to sneak away? As he spoke, he kissed the most sensitive spot on my neck. I put my hands on his chest, trying to dodge, but there was nowhere to hide. In the end, he bent down and kissed her slightly swollen lips. Remember I told you I was afraid of scaring you? Remember? I responded vaguely, but as soon as I opened my mouth, he took advantage of the situation and kissed me even more deeply. I couldn't help but clutch the robe at his chest. My whole body was shaking. When I first met you, you were only 16 years old. My mother was still alive at that time. I stared at him blankly, and suddenly my eyes turned red. He held me in his arms and stroked my back gently. You were not yet an adult at that time, so I could only wait. Later, your mother passed away. You were not even 18 at that time. I remember. You came to my mother's funeral. I lay on his chest, tears streaming down my face. Please let me mourn for you. Don't let your crying hurt your health. You've grown up, you've become an adult, but the timing is wrong. Juliana, I still have to wait. Nolan held my face and wiped away the tears from my face bit by bit. Then I remembered that during those years, my uncle did mention that I go on blind dates from time to time. But at that time, I had just lost my mother and was still young. There is no such thought at all. But I didn't expect that you would fall in love with another boy after you went to college. I had a despicable and dirty thought, to snatch you away from me. But seeing how happy you were around him, I gave up the idea. It's been 2 years, Juliana. I've never been this miserable. Nolan lowered his eyes and looked at me. His fingers caressed my eyebrows and every inch of my face. Until finally, it fell on the corners of my eyes where tears were welling up. Don't cry, Juliana. Nolan, so you said you were afraid of scaring me. Is it because you liked me when I was 16? Nolan did not answer. In fact, the truth is far from that simple. But he couldn't tell Juliana about his secret and hidden love. She had appeared in his dreams countless times. In the dream, he had done many excessive things to her. But now the dream has come true. She was literally in his arms. Yes, I used to despise myself for being so despicable. I even consulted a psychologist privately. But it's normal for teenagers to fall in love secretly, right? But I'm 6 years older than you, Juliana. At her age, she might just fantasize about pure love. But when he was at that grade, he already had an extremely strong possessiveness towards the girl he liked. I looked at him with some annoyance. Yes, you are 6 years older than me. My best friend said that men start to go downhill after the age of 25, and you're already 28. But I haven't finished my sentence yet. Nolan suddenly picked me up. The world was spinning, and my body sank into the soft bed. It was then enveloped and engulfed by the solid and boiling volcano. Juliana, seeing is believing. Why don't you take a look, touch it, and feel it yourself before you draw any conclusions? He held my hand and walked me down. I suddenly opened my eyes wide and stared at him. Nolan. He seemed pleased by my expression. How about a 28-year-old man? I tried to pull my hand back, but he held me tighter. He leaned down and placed a hot kiss on my lips again. Juliana, don't cry later. I won't be soft-hearted even if you cry. But he still softened his heart towards me. Like that year at my mom's funeral. I cried so hard that I became a tearful person. And my tears also softened his heart completely. And now, I just shed a tear with red eyes under him. He stopped, held me in his arms, and coaxed me for a long time. That night was very long, as if the day would never come. But the daytime of the next day was very short. Because when I opened my eyes, it was already afternoon. The moment I opened my eyes, Nolan bent down and kissed me. It's time to get up. If you don't get up, your two uncles will be angry. I smiled with my eyes closed and reached out to him for a hug. He bent down and picked me up. Our Juliana is just like her name, soft and fluffy. So do you like it? I bravely looked at him, but I gave in and buried my face in his chest. Nolan held me and walked steadily towards the bathroom. It took him a while to answer. I like it very much. Always liked it. I have liked it for a long, long time. When I had no idea. When I am sad or happy. There is also someone who cares about my joys and sorrows. I don't know what the future holds. But just this moment, this instant. I just feel extremely happy and satisfied. 19. The day of Nolan and I's wedding. Damien's parents are here. But Damien didn't come. When they met Damien's father and Damien's mother, they were a little embarrassed. But I did not involve my elders in the grudges between Damien and me. After all, when we were in love, they were all very polite to me. Even though I knew, they were not very satisfied with me. But Nolan's attitude was a little cold. The two of them looked a little panicked. Damien once said that his father always bows down to Nolan. Indeed, the Zhou family is not as good as it used to be. It is even declining now. If I offend Nolan, I will probably fall from grace in the future. I looked at Damien's mother's anxious and worried eyes. Thinking back to when my mother passed away, she also came to pay her respects. He also held me in his arms with heartache and shed tears. I couldn't help but gently tug on Nolan's sleeve. Only then did his expression soften a little, and he asked someone to accept the gift from the two elders. When changing into dress midway, I received a text message on my phone from an unknown number. Juliana, happy wedding. I know it's Damien. After thinking about it, I replied with 2 words, thank you. After a while, another message came from that number. If I had kissed you on that day, would we have stayed together? I didn't reply again and deleted and blocked the strange number. There are no ifs in this world. And I am extremely grateful and thankful for his absurdity that day. If not for this, I would not have been so discouraged and decided to go abroad. Promise your uncle to meet Nolan. I wouldn't know either. It turns out that this is what it feels like to be loved wholeheartedly. Juliana, are you ready? Nolan pushed the door open. I turned around and looked at him, smiling. Okay.